Hello guys, welcome to Motion Tutor and I am back with another After Effects very cool and very interesting tutorials. Basically this is the second part of our snowy neon logo animation. So the first part link in description. So if you don't watch the first part, so I recommend you watch the first part first. So then it will be like easier for you to understand what we will creating. So in last tutorial we create this flickering neon animation inside of After Effects. So in this tutorial we will continue this animation. So let's get started. So first of all we are now in our main composition, so you can drag this logo comb here which has our logo. So right click and pre-comb the logo comb, click on move all attribute and you can change the name to logo edge and then click OK and then go inside of this composition and select the logo composition layer, press Ctrl D to duplicate it and then you can alpha invert mate the logo layer with the duplicate layer. So you can select alpha inverted mate, and if you don't see the track mate option, so you can click on these toggle switches or press F4 and then you can select the first logo layer and then you can press the down arrow key to move it little bit down, not too much, so then you can see something like edges is now showing. So now you can go to effects and preset panel and type here simple choker and drag this effect on the second layer and you can change the value to 3 or maybe 2. I think 2 is okay now. So then go to your main composition and here you can select this logo edge comb and press Ctrl D and hide the neon stroke composition for now, and you can right click and pre-comb this comb and you can change the name to edge points or something like this and then click on move all attribute and then click OK and then go inside of this composition and drag the simple choker effect on it and change the value to maybe 1 or maybe the default is okay, but if you want so you can do it minus, we can tweak it later. And then you can add a Vegas effect on it, so you can drag this effect here and change the blending mode to transparency and you can change the segment to 4 or 5 and you can change the length down something like this and you can change the end opacity to 1 and the hardness to 1 also, and then you can change the length to maybe little bit and you can change the segment to 2 or we can tweak it later and change the color to white and then you can add a fast box blur, change the value to something like 5, you can change the narration to 1 maybe or 2 and then you can add a curves effect there and then you can select the alpha channel here and boost it up like this and then you can add a simple choker effect and change the value to 5 and select the effect, press Ctrl D, duplicate it one more time and change it to -5 and then you can add a fill effects on last and change the color to white. So now we can tweak the width of this to maybe little bit down because it's too much, so like I think 1 will be okay and we can change the length to maybe 0.2, so I think now it's okay. We can come to this comp and tweak later if we need it and then come to your main composition and select the logo edge point composition and right click and pre-comb it map_01 and click on move all attribute and then click OK and go to inside of this composition and here you can add a fast box blur effect and then you can select the blur dimension to vertical and change the width to like the radius to something around 15 and I am going to this edge composition and I think the value is not too much. I think point here will be 5 will be okay, so we can see and we can also rotate it, so like if we think so now I think it's okay or maybe here I can type 4. So I think now it's okay. Now I will come to my main map 1 composition and now here we added the fast box blur effect and then you can add one more effect on it which name is curves. Select the alpha channel and boost it up very high something like this and then we can add one more effect here which name is a linear white and here you can change the angle to maybe 180 and change the transition complexity to 35 and change the feather to maybe 25%. So now it's okay and then you can add a turbulence displacement effect here and you can change the size to maybe 1.5 or according to your need. So I think 1010 and the amount will be 50 will be okay and the complexity will 3 I think will be what better or maybe 2. Now we can go to this our edges comb because here the point is too much big, so I will change the simple choker amount to maybe 9 here. So now in my this composition the lines will be small. So then you can add roughen edges effect here. So then you can change the borders to value to 2. Okay, and we can go there, and in this composition I will change the simple choker value to maybe 8% or 7%. I think will be okay. So now I think it's looking okay. So then you can change the complexity to 2, and I think it's okay, but we can tweak it later if we need it. So then you can add one more effect on it, which name is fill. So you can drag a fill effect there and change the color to white. And then if I go to this composition here, we want to tweak this maybe segment to 3, and now in my this composition I think now it's looking very good to me. And I will tweak now the borders to maybe 3. Okay, but okay, I think now it's okay. But now we can create the floor snow. So like this is our snow map, not snow, this is our ice map, sorry. So then now we want to create the like on floor snow. So for creating this you can select the pen tool and don't select any layer, just create a simple path according to something like this. So it will be according to your text or maybe your logo with how like your logo big is. So then you can disable the fill from here and just enable the stroke and change the size to maybe 10, and then you can enable the transparency for now, and then you can create a new solid layer here. So you can create a new solid by pressing Ctrl Y, and then you can disable it for now, and you can enable the action title save from here, and then you can select the mask ellipse rectangle tool and you can draw a mask like for the floor. So like if I enable it, so now you can see like it's our floor. So maybe something like here. So I think here it's okay, but we can tweak it later if we need it. So I think here it's the floor is okay. So then you can select the layer and alpha invert made this with this layer, and you can now position it up because so like now we have the mask, and you can go to like straight, so then it will be more cool. So like now it's okay, not too much like okay, now it's okay. So you can add a turbulence displacement effect on it. So you can drag this turbulence displacement effect on this shape layer, and you can change the size to maybe 5 and the complexity to 2 and the amount to maybe 75, and then you can add a roughen edges effect on it. You can tweak it little bit according to your need, or we can tweak it later if we need it, but now the rough thing is okay. So you can then later if you change the logo, so you can just tweak the point of this path, so it will be like according to your logo size. So now it's looking okay. So let's come to our main composition, and here now we have the logo edges comp here. So you can disable the map 1 comp for now, and you can add a simple joker effect on it, and you can change the value to maybe something like -6 or maybe something like this. We can tweak it later, and then you can add roughen edges effect, and you can change the edge sharpness to 3 and the scale to 120 and the border size to maybe 1010, and we can tweak it later if we need it. So then you can add a fill effect on it and change the color to white and change the border. I think maybe 8 or 9 will be okay, but we have option, we can tweak it later. And just now enable this composition and see it's looking I think okay. So we can select the both comp and right click and pre-comp it and click move all attribute and change the name, and then click OK, and then you can add a matte choker effect on it and change the softness to 4 and the choke 1 value to I think 35, or this geometry softness 1 to I think 3. So I think now it's okay, but we can tweak it later. So then add a simple choker effect on it, tweak it little bit. So I think if I change it to 3, but now it's okay, but now we don't have like too much snow. So I think if I duplicate this simple choker and put it above and I change this to -5, so like first we can boost the simple choker and then we can matte choke it, and then I can change it to 550 now, but we can tweak it later if we need it. So then you can right click and pre-comp this layer, click on move all attribute and change the name to map 3 and then click OK, and then you can press Ctrl D to duplicate it one more time, and you can right click and pre-comp it, and now you can change the name name to ice_map, and then you can click OK, and then you can double click and go to this composition, and here you can select the layer, press Ctrl D to duplicate and hide the first one for now, and right click, go to layer style and add inner glow, and then go to inner glow and first of all change the blending mode to normal and change the opacity to 100 and change the color to black. And now we have something like this. So now change the size to maybe around 6 or 7 will be okay, but we can tweak it later. And I think opacity will 75 will be okay, and change the range to 75. So I think 75 is also okay. So now you can hide the layer for now and enable the first one, and you can add a fractal noise effect on it and change the fractal type to dynamic, and change the overflow to clip, and go to transform and change the scale to 25. So now I think it's okay, but we can tweak it later, and change the blending mode to linear burn. And if you don't see the blending mode option, so you just click on these toggle switches. So now if I enable this layer, so you can see we have something like this. So you can change the transparency to 30% if I enable and disable. So you can see we have something like this. So now come to your main composition, and we have the duplicate of map 3. So you can right click and pre-comp it, click on move all attribute and change the name to snow, and then click OK, and then go to this composition, press Ctrl D to duplicate the layer and press P and change the Y position 5 or 3, and then you can alpha invert mate it, and then you can add a fast box blur effect on the first layer, and then you can change the value to 3 and change the narration to 1. So like if I enable, so you can see we have blurriness on the edges of this layer, and you can also change the position if you think it's too much, so you can change it to 2. So like just we want this white edges. So now it's okay. So now let's come to our main composition, and now here it's time to like create the effect. So first of all select the neon stroke layer. So here we have the effect. So firstly we can pre-comp it, click on move all attribute and just change the name to neon. So now it's okay, and enable the layer for now. So now we have the neon layer here. So you can firstly duplicate it, and then you can press enter and change the second one name to ice B. So now you can add a fast blur on it, and you can change the blur radius to 20 and the narration to 1. I think 20 is too much, so I think 10, because the size of this composition is different. So if you like going with 9020 by 1080, so the values will be different. So keep in mind the all like property, like if you add 15% blur in 720p, if you are going with 9020 by 1080, so the property will be maybe 20 to 25. So then you can add CC blobness, and then you can go to the blob niceness and change the blob layer to ice map, and then you can change the cut away to 0 and the softness to 10, and then you can go to shading and change the diffuse to 0 and the ambient to 100, and then you can add a set matte effect on it, and then you can select the take matte from layer to ice map, and then you can see we have something like this, and then you can add exposure effect here, drag this effect here and change the exposure value to 2. So now 2 or maybe 1 or maybe 1.5 will be also work, and then now it's okay. And now you can enable the ice map layer, and you can change the blending mode to soft light, and if you don't see the blending mode, so you can click on these toggle switches. So now we have something like this, and you can add the curves adjustment on this ice map layer and drag this here and boost it little bit, so like not too much, just little bit. So now it's okay, and now you can enable the snow layer, and you can change the mode to also soft light, but now it's not looking so much good. So come to the ice B composition. So here the ambient is set it to 100. By mistake I set this to 200, so change it to 100, and the softness will be 5. So now you can see we have looking something like icing, but we can add some more effect to make look like more cool. So you can change the exposure to 2 or maybe 3. You can see if you think the 2 is not too much, so you can change it to 3. It's depending on you. And basically the size of the composition is 1280p, so also for this reason it's not looking too much good, but it's okay for now. And also if I go to the map 1 comp, so here I can also change the border value to 8, so I think I change it to 8. So now it's okay, and also we can play with the turbulence amount, so like we can tweak it. So you can see we have comp we can tweak it if we need it, but now the glow is not too much, so you can select the neon comp and press Ctrl D to duplicate it and change the blending mode to screen. We have some more glow, so now you can select all and right click and click on pre-comp, and you can change the name on move all attribute and then click OK. So now I will give you the two files link in description. The first is the texture and the second is the overlay of particles, so you can download the both file for free from description. So then you can import this texture file here and you can scale it down and you can make it 3D. Press F4 if you don't see the 3D button, and then you can rotate it 90 degree, and then you can align the position. So here I adjust the layers little bit. So now you can right click and pre-comp it and you can name it texture and click on move all attribute and then click OK. And then here you can create a new camera, so like the camera will be 35mm I think is okay. So now you can click OK, and then you can see the collapse transmission icon, so you can enable it for this layer, for this texture layer. So then you can double click and go to this texture composition, and here you can add some effects. So first of all you can create a new solid layer, so you can go to layer and create a new solid layer which color will be white. So you can create a white solid layer and put it below to this, and then go to effects and preset panel and add the tint effect on this texture layer, and then you can add a curves effect on it. So then you can change the curves to something like this, so something like this, and then you can add a linear wipe effect on it. Change the wipe angle to 0 and the fader to 500 and the transition complexion to 20%, and then you can add a fractal noise effect on it, and you can change the type to dynamic and the U2 to transform and change the size to 500. You can change the blending mode to overlay. So now it's looking okay, and you can adjust the curves if you want. So now it's okay, and you can resize it if you want the size it not okay. So I think the size 50 will be okay, but we can tweak it later because everything inside of Chrome, so we can change it later. So let's come to our main composition, and here now disable this composition and create a new adjustment layer. Go to layer and create a adjustment layer. So then you can just select this glow layer, and you can firstly make it 3D just with this 3D button. If you don't see, click on this toggle switches for like showing the 3D button, and you can select the layer, press Ctrl D to duplicate it, and you can select the rotation tool, hold the shift key and rotate the X rotation to maybe 180 degree. So then you can put it like down, press V to select the selection tool, and then you can press F4. So then you can change the blending mode to screen. So then you can put it little bit below, and you can enable this action save like title save from here. So then you can put this one to up little bit like here, and this one is our reflection, so the reflection will be here, and you can change the RAM. So then it's looking okay, and we can change the position of the reflection later if we need it. So then you can add a compound blur on adjustment layers, and then you can select the texture layer for blur layer, and you can change the maximum blur amount to 40%. So then you can check the invert blur option, and you can just click on this. So now we have the texture on the floor, but the position of the texture is not like on floor, so like the floor is starting from there. So we can also change this position layer, but I think then it will be not okay, but I can tweak it little bit down to this. But then you can lock this composition here and double click on this texture, so it will be open in this new window. So you can drag it there, and then you can adjust it from here, so like you can tweak it. So now I think it's looking perfect. So then you can cut the comp from here. So then go to your main composition here, and I think I can tweak this one to little bit down because it's too much up. So then you can select this texture layer and press Ctrl D to duplicate it and put it above to the adjustment layer. So then you can add a invert effect on it, and then you can change the blending mode to soft light. So then you can enable the layer. So now you can see we have something like this. So yeah, then you can add a curves adjustment on it. So you can add a curves adjustment on here, and you can make it something like S type of curves. So now you can see it's okay, but we have the issue on these points, white edges. So for fixing this, you can search for solid composite and drag this effect on this adjustment layer, and you can change the color to black. So then it's gone and we have our texture there. So you can change the opacity to maybe 50%. So now it's looking okay, but if you think, you can also go to every comp and tweak it if you want. So like now it's looking okay to me. So then you can select all and pre-comp it to pre-comp 1, and then we have now everything in this composition. So then add the overlay 01 which I give you in the description, so you can download it and add it and change the blending mode to soft light. So then it will be reflect with the light. You can see now it's reflecting only on this light part, like on the glowing thing, and also it will be then reflecting with this color of your animation. So then you can parent this with this pre-comp and go to first frame, add a keyframe on scale of this pre-comp and go to last frame and change it to maybe 110. So we have little bit zoom animation, but if you don't need zoom animation, so you don't add this keyframe. And also you can duplicate this layer one more time, this overlay layer, and you can change the blending mode to screen and change the transparency to maybe 550%. like go to 2 seconds and add a keyframe, go to 0 frame, change it to 0, and go to 6 seconds, add another keyframe, go to 8 seconds and change it to 0 again. And you can at the end, so you can create a new solid layer which color will be black. So you can create a solid, and then you can create a mask, something around, like you can enable the action title shape, and then you can create a mask on this point. So like you can see the lines. So then you can change the blending mode of the mask to substrate. So then we have the film bars on the side. So it's depending on you if you want to create, so you can create it. So everything is done. So you want to, like, if you want to change anything, you can go to this composition, like this edges composition. If you think the snow or the eyes is not like too much, so you can change this to 140. So if I come to my main composition, so you can see, so now the eyes is very high. So like you have every control in your hand. So I hope guys this will be helpful. So let's ramp preview it and see what we made. So here you can see I rendered the composition. So now I have a separate layer and I change the color to like dark blue and orange, and I also increase the ice amount. So like you can see the final result is very good. So if I disable it, so you can see the composition is same, everything is same, just I rendered this layer. Also guys, now that's it, it's done and the tutorial is end. But some things I will show you. The one thing is maybe you can get the issue if you like go to the, so here if you change the color to random colors, so like I change the color to random colors, and if I go to now my main composition, so you can see the color is too much bright. So how you can fix this? So it's also a little bit issue if you face this. So I recommend you to can add the tint effect on this random color composition, and you can change the value to 35 or 25 according to your needs. So you can see now the issue will be fixed, the color will be random. So it's depending on you. You can also choose random colors, custom colors, everything, every comp in your hand. So guys, that's it for this tutorial. I hope these two tutorials will be very helpful for you and you will learn something new from this tutorial. So guys, if you learn something new, and feel free to like and subscribe, and if you like get any issue, if you face any issue, and if you have any question, feel free to ask in comment section, I will reply to you. And also my Patreon link in description, so if you want to support me, and so support me on Patreon. And the main thing is the original template of Videohive which inspired me to create this tutorial. So I will also put the template link in description. So guys, if you're interested and buy the templates, also if you want to support me on Patreon. And so guys, I will be catching you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.